Hello everyone and welcome to another video. One of the most frequent video requests I get in my comments is how much you can charge for on-the-ride photos, so I thought I'd finally make a video about it. This video is based on Dirklink's guide to shop prices, which I have linked in the description. Before we get to the price, let's see which rides have access to the on-ride photo section. The only ride categories where you can find the photo sections are roller coasters and water rides, and about half of them have access to it. On the left you can see the ones that do get it, and on the right you can see the ones that do not get it. The ride types with an orange background do not get the photo section in RCT2 Vanilla and Classic, but do get it in Open RCT2. Now let's see how much we can charge for it. You may think that this is going to be similar to rides, where below a certain price everyone will buy it and above that price no one will buy it, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. If you want to ignore that and just charge the highest price where everyone will still pay, you can charge €3. At this price or below it, every guest is willing to pay, and above it some guests will not be willing to pay anymore. Don't confuse this with that every guest will buy a photo, because that is never the case. When a guest exits a ride, it is first determined if they actually want to buy the photo, and if they do, only then the guest will look at the price and determine if it's worth it to buy it. The €3 that everyone wants to pay is what we can call the base value. When you charge more than the base value, it depends on the happiness of the guest and on some randomness whether they want to buy it or not. We will first go over how the randomness works and later also add in the happiness factor. Let's say that we charge €3.50 for our photos, which is 50 cents more than the base value. If a guest wants to buy the photo, the game generates a random number ranging from 0 to 7, which translates to 0 to 70 cents. If this value is equal to or greater than the amount we overcharge compared to the base value, then the guest will buy the photo. So, in this case, with our price of $3.50, the guest will buy it if the random number that is generated is 5, 6 or 7, which is a 37.5% chance. This means that if you charge $3.80 or more, no guest will buy it, since the random number that is generated will always be lower than 80 cents. Or at least that would be the case if the happiness factor didn't exist. The guest happiness is a value that ranges from 0 to 255. If it is at 128 or higher, the difference between the price and the base value is first divided by 2 before the random number is generated. If the guest is very happy and its happiness value is at least 180, the difference is divided by 2 again. That was a lot of numbers and math in a very short time, so I'll show an example to make it clearer. Here is a wooden roller coaster where you can purchase the on-ride photo for €4.50. Our first guest is having a terrible time, so its happiness value is below 128. This means that the difference of 150 between the base value and the actual price will stay at 150. Now a random interval of 10 cents between 0 and 70 cents is generated. Since even the max of 70 cents is well below the difference of 150, the angry guest will never buy the photo. Let's now see what happens if the guest is decently happy and has a happiness value between 128 and 180. The difference of 150 is divided by 2 and rounded down to the nearest interval of 10 cents, which results in a new difference of 70 cents. This is just about within the range of the random number. Only if the randomly generated number has the highest value of 70 cents, the guest will buy it. This means that there is a 12.5% chance, or 1 in 8, that a decently happy guest will buy the photo. Lastly, we have a very happy guest with a happiness value of over 180. Now the difference of 150 is divided by 2 and rounded down twice, or just divided by 4 and rounded down. 150 divided by 4 and rounded down is 30 cents. So now if the random number is 30 cents or higher, the guest will buy the photo. This is a 5 in 8 chance, or 62.5%. Here is a table. In the column on the left is the price of the on-right photo, and in the other 3 columns is the chance that a guest will buy it, 1 column for each state of happiness. It goes from €3 where everyone will buy it, all the way to €6.20 where no one will buy it because it's too expensive. As you can see, the happier the guest, the higher the chance that they will buy more expensive photos. However, even at a still quite low price of $3.40, the happiest guest sometimes won't buy it, which happens if the random number is the lowest possible. I could now try to determine what the most optimal price is, but I think that might be a bit too complicated. It would be possible if the happiness values were distributed equally over the entire possible range from 0 to 255, but that isn't the case. I have checked a few of my parks, and in general guests tend to be quite happy, although it does differ between parks. In some parks I found very few guests that didn't have a big smile, while in others I found a fair few of unhappy guests as well. There are also other factors at play. One factor in favor of lower prices is that guests become slightly less happy if they want to buy an item but it's too expensive. A factor that's in favor of higher prices is that guests can only have 1 on-right photo per category on them. There are 4 different categories, and if a guest has bought a photo from a ride in a certain category, they won't be able to buy another one that's in the same category. If you increase the prices, it makes sure that when a guest does buy a photo, they pay the highest price possible. About these categories, by the way, they are not random. Category 1 is steel roller coaster types that are on top of the track. Category 2 is inverted coaster types, Category 3 is wooden coaster types, and Category 4 is water rides. The wooden coaster is alone in its category because it's the only wooden coaster type that gets the photo section. But in the code, coaster types like the reverser coaster still have Category 3 because they are a wooden coaster type. It's nearly impossible to properly weigh all of these factors against each other, so you can also avoid all of this entirely and just price all your on-ride photos at €3, which is what I do. Ultimately, you will make the most money from the park entrance or ride tickets anyway, so just like with toilets, I like to price them so that I do make some money with it, but I also make really few guests unhappy. You don't have to do what I do though, you can make up your own mind. And that was everything about on-ride photos. There is a whole lot of math behind whether guests want to pay for it, but that can all be avoided by pricing the photos low enough. If you liked this video, consider giving it a like or leave a comment. You can also subscribe or follow me on Twitch. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.